Oftentimes when we think of areas that need to be flexible for runners, we often think of the hips. Yes, this is a very important area, but you typically do not need a lot of range of motion at the hips to be a successful runner. I oftentimes see runners with very poor flexibility, but are very successful when they get out there run, because you're really not going through a large range of motion. Instead of always focusing on the hips, one key joint is actually the big toe, which we need to think more of when it comes to flexibility. Because if you think about the running movement pattern, as you come through mid stance, you start to come body forward over the foot. We start to load, and then you think ankle motion, but also great toe extension before we go and propel the body forward. So extension at the great toe is one of those really key areas that we need to make sure we have full extension or dorsiflexion at. So just to show you what that looks like, is if we break it down a little more simply, being able to pull this big toe up towards the shin. So if we plantar flex the foot, can we extend that toe to about 65 degrees? That's really what we're looking for. So instead of always thinking about flexibility around the hips, do we have the mobility at the great toe? If we know that's something we're lacking, either we're not fully able to load the hip, we always think, oh, it's my hip flexors are tight. Start looking further down the chain to see, do you have the necessary extension at the great toe and also ankle dorsiflexion? What we can do there, if we notice that's limited, just going into this quadruped position, very comparable, again, child's pose if you see in yoga. Instead of plantar flexing the ankles, if we go ahead and dorsiflex, so then our toes are in the state of extension. And then from there, what we can do is just rock back. We're trying to encourage and add a little extra extension into that toe. We can kind of bias. You can see I'm slightly shifting over to that big toe. We can kind of bias that big toe just to work on some gentle extension. So next time you get into running and go to load the big toe, you have enough range of motion then to push off forcefully.